We apologize for this delay. If you are calling for general information or are interested in applying for retirement...
I need to move, and I need paperwork from Social Security about my benefits. And the only thing that I've got is my 2017...
I would say let's print out a letter just in case this doesn't get delivered to you.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I would say let's print out a letter just in case it still gets delivered to you.
Yeah, I'm disabled. I don't have transportation. I'm in a house that's uninhabitable, and I got to do something real quick. You know, I was wondering if this is something that you might be able to check on. I had DHHS, Department of Health and Human Services, offer me Medicare Part D for a period of time in 2017, and then for some reason, they said that I didn't qualify because I didn't send paperwork back in time. So they actually took like $237 out of my June 2017 Social Security payment. And I talked to Medicare, and they said they were going to investigate, but that was like a couple weeks ago. And I was wondering if you saw anything that there was an investigation, or is that something separate?
It might be something separate. Unless we do the refund to Social Security, it'll let us know like what month is being refunded.
It might be something separate.
Well, no, I guess what I'm questioning is they did it all wrong. DHHS screwed it all up, and then for some reason, they gave me a benefit, and then they made me pay back out of my own money, out of my Social Security, which according to my record, my research, that's fraud.
Yeah, let me check your record to see what all happened.
Okay.
Yeah, let me check your record to see what all happened. Okay, and I'm just waiting on the computer. It should be just a minute.
I know the feeling.
All right, and I'm just waiting on the computer. It should be just a minute. Okay, I found a little bit more information. So it looks like when you first got approved for your Medicare coverage in, I guess that would have been September 2016, they were going to start taking out Medicare premiums from your payments, and they ended up taking it out of your first month, November 2016. But then later in November, you got approved for this QMB program, or Medicare Savings Program, and that's where they help cover the costs. So I thought there was just one reimbursement or refund later in November for that first month that they shouldn't have taken it out. and they were paying for it all the way through the end of April, but they didn't update your records of Social Security until late May, and that's when they took out 2 months worth for May and June.
The thing is, I don't have transportation. I never signed up for Medicare. I can't use it because I don't have transportation. I told them like that, and I never wanted it. I never chose a provider, and this has been taken out of my check against my wishes, and I haven't had a phone to use. I haven't had any way of contacting anybody. I'm disabled, and I've been relying on DHHS and Adult Protective Services to help me, and instead they screwed it all up, and I got shorted. How can they take back a $237 out of my check?
I guess when it first started, back in November, did you send out any kind of letters saying you didn't want it?
I guess when it first started,
I told them. I said I told them
send out any
I
kind of
don't.
letters saying you didn't want it, or did you have any type of appeal?
DHHS. And I've tried getting a hold of Social Security on your website, and I was having problems on the website. Your website wouldn't. I couldn't get on it, and I even showed that to the Adult Protective Services guy when he came to my house, and I recorded it, and I tell him, I don't know what's going on. I had no idea what was happening. I never had time to even think about Medicare because I was having problems with my house, and that's when they just signed me up for that program against my will. I never chose a provider, and I've been paying for services for 2 years that I haven't used one time. And every time that I've asked the HHS to explain what was going on, they wouldn't tell me. And that's why from what I understand, that's Medicare fraud. Am I right? Or?
Okay.
If you want to turn down that Medicare and terminate that.
Okay, so there's a couple of things you can do. If you want to turn down that Medicare and terminate that coverage, if you can't go into the Social Security office or can't call them directly, they just need something in writing from you that you can mail back to Social Security saying you do not want that coverage. Also, that you did not sign up for that coverage.
No, ma'am, that's the problem.
I
keep getting my mail returned from. I'm disabled. I live in a mobile home park that I can't walk to the community house, and then my mail keeps getting returned. My mailbox gets full. My mail gets returned to everybody that sends me mail, and I can't get a doctor's statement for the post office stating that I'm disabled because I can't get to my doctors. That's why you haven't seen, if you take a look at my medical records, before that time, I was seeing the doctor once a month, and when I lost my transportation in the fall, I wasn't able to access my doctors. That's why I never chose Medicare. I had no way to get to it, and DHHS signed me up for it without my permission. And then every time I tried to address them, they wouldn't answer. They wouldn't tell me what was going on. And then I found out later when they hit me that they did that illegally. They took out $237 that I needed to fix my roof, and then they denied that. And then I've had the Adult Protective Services guy in my house, and I was trying to show him everything, and he wouldn't explain it. And I'm being abused by DHHS and Adult Protective Services. That's why if there's any way, man, that I could get some help, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're able to get some help, but the main thing they need before they can give you a refund, before they can stop that coverage, they need something.
Yeah, you're able to get some help, but the main thing they need before they can give you a refund, before they can stop that coverage, they need something in writing from you saying you do not want this coverage, or that you were signed up against your will, basically. So, are you able to?
I can't get anywhere.
Send a handwritten request to terminate this Medicare to one of your Social Security office through mail?
No, I can't, ma'am. I'm absolutely incapacitated in my mobile.
Oh, not to go in. Are you able to mail a letter to us?
I'm being left to die. I can't get any help whatsoever. DHHS is out of business. I mean, I've called the Adult Protective Services. I've called their hotline. I have no food. I have no running water. They destroyed my house. They installed a water heater that caused $15,000 worth of damage, and now they're leaving me homeless. It's like a intentional assault on making me homeless. And I mean, I've been on the phone all day with trying to get food and water. And this is just one issue that they've done. They've done all kinds of horrible things to me that I need to get resolved. I'm trying to file criminal complaint, but no one will. I even went to the state police and the Almont police trying to file a report for Social Security fraud. No one will even listen to me. They're just ignoring me. And
Well, I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
no, what they did is I had a guy coming out, a guy to fix my roof. My roof was leaking, and they were supposed to come out in May, and I needed that $237 to fix my roof, and they took it out. They wouldn't. They refused to not take it out, and didn't get my roof fixed. And then they went and told this Michigan State Police that they did fix my roof. They said they fixed my water heater that they installed, and they did neither one of them. I'm trying to get anybody to realize that the state police, the DHHS lied to the state police, and Adult Protective Services lied to the Almont police, but nobody cares because I'm an expendable, and what they're doing is basically murdering me. None of their departments or institutions work. They're telling me to call the Adult Protective Services hotline, emergency hotline. I called it, and then some woman from Adult Protective Services wrote in their notes that I'm in no critical danger because I have a grocery store right across the street, which is a lie. And I'm trying to get a hold of that woman. She won't return my phone calls. In my particular area, the government, Lapeer County's completely collapsed. And in the meantime, they're just letting me die of starvation and die of thirst.
Okay, so DHS the same place or DHHS, is that the same place that handles food stamps and the housing that you're trying to get?
Okay, so is DHS the same place
right.
for DHS?
They've done absolutely nothing.
Food stamps?
They gave me, in the 2 years that I applied for services, they gave me $330 in food stamps, and they did over $15,000 worth of damage to my house that made it uninhabitable. I'm disabled. I have no place to go. I can't even walk. If my house is a fire hazard, it's the floors are all caved in. I have supposedly dependent disability rights. I'm disabled, and I'm entitled to a safe living environment, and they're just letting me die. And I call my local police. There's it's called the Michigan Model Vulnerable Adult Protocol, and it describes that I'm a victim of torture, and I'm supposed to call my local police. And so I call the police, and they're saying, well, you understand there's nothing I can do because you have to contact DHHS. We have no control over DHHS. And they're the rapists, so they're saying, well, you got to go to the rapists and try to work with them, and nobody's doing it. He told me to call the police officer in Almont told me to call the lady from DHHS. I called the lady for like 3 days, and then she finally called, and he told me that this lady would help me fix my house. And when I called, this woman left messages, or I called and left messages, and she called me back and left a message that I got to call Dave Dyer. He's the regional guy, the head man at Adult Protective Services, and he'll help me out. So then I called him, and he's going, I don't know what you're talking about. You got to call this number. I go, what number? He said, he gave me the same number that I called for 10 days over and over again, and nobody's calling me back. And I argued with him for an hour and a half, and finally said, there's nothing I can do for you. So there's no investigation. I just called again today, and somebody told me that they took all my information. They said that they would contact me immediately, and I haven't heard from them. And this is the second time. This one I called 10 days ago, and this is their emergency number. So then I called the police today, and I told them I don't have food, I don't have water, and I don't have toilet paper, I don't have cat food. And they told me, they said they'll bring me some food and cat food, and I haven't heard from them. They'll probably show up, I don't know, but it's not a long-term fix. They're basically, I'm living in a house that's uninhabitable due to what DHHS did. They sent in a gang of thugs that destroyed my house, and it put in a water heater that failed twice within the first 6 months because it was done incorrectly, and they were going out of business at the same time because of they were a bad reputation. And then when that my water heater failed, they just said, there's nothing we can do for you. And there was nobody I could sue. They were telling me that the Adult Protective Services guy told me that I could sue the state. I've been trying to sue the state since November. I've been without water in my home since November, and I'm disabled. Can you believe?
There's a couple of different options that you might have. Have you already sought legal advice or free legal advice yet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I tried
there's a couple
everything.
different
There's only
options
two
that you might
agencies.
have.
I've tried them both.
Have you already sought legal advice
I went to
or free
my
legal advice yet?
I went to my state legislator's town hall meeting because we got bad. We've got a bad agency in Lapeer County that's doing this to people, and I tried to get my issues resolved, and he had the police called on me and had me thrown out of his meeting. He told me that I got to go to the proper agencies. And I told him I've been going to him. He said, "Oh, that's not my problem. He said, you're the problem. You refuse to do what you have to do."
How long ago did you go to the meeting?
That was no, ma'am. That was in August.
Okay.
I went to the state police and filed a police report on 7/17. I originally filed complaints in January when DHHS and Adult Protective Services, I contacted them in November and I said, your water heater leaked again, and I have no way of fixing it. Send your man out again, and you caused a lot of damage to my house. And they ignored me, so I went and I filed a Freedom of Information request for their files, and in December they ignored me. They've ignored me ever since. I've requested over and over, and I've made requests to the state legislator that made a complaint to my legislator, to my senator, to the Department of Civil Rights. They're just ignoring. I have a freedom of information. I'm trying to act as my own attorney to protect myself, and I want their files, and they refuse to give them to me. And then I tried to make a complaint, and the state police had it since January, and the first thing he wanted to do was come to my home and come into my home. And I told him, I said, you're welcome in my home, but I want witnesses and a camera. And he refused to do it. And so then I kept bugging him, and so he said that he investigated the case, and he contacted DHHS in May, and they said they fixed my water heater and my roof. So he said, so the case is closed. So that's when that was in May. So then I got so frustrated, I went right into the state police department post in Lapeer, and I spent like 2 hours trying to give a report. And they told me, they said that they would take the report and take it to the prosecutor, but it could take up to 6 months. And don't bother anybody, don't call anybody. They're on the case. And nothing was going on. So when my state legislator said to call the prosecuting attorney, I called the prosecuting attorney, and they couldn't even find the case. And so then he said, well, you better call the state police back. So I called the state police back, and that was on a holiday. And they said, well, I can't get a hold of them till the next day, or like a Tuesday. So they called me back, and they said, yeah, we checked with the prosecutor, and the prosecutor said there's no crime committed, so case is closed. And I said, well, how could that be when they lied to the state police, and they said, well, there's no crime committed and there's nothing we can do, and so the case is closed. So then I called the prosecutor, and I thought I could maybe open this up again, and I called the Almont police and to try to get them to open this case up, because they didn't have the proper information. And I'm a victim of felony torture that they refused to look at. And so the Almont police called the Adult Protective Services agent, and he told the Almont police, they lied to the Almont police and said, well, I thought that his water heater was fixed. So the Almont police said, well, there's nothing we can do. Okay, but I mean, do you see what my situation is,
ma'am? Let's try and get back to what we can do for you over the phone today.
Yeah.
So as far as that letter goes, yes,
okay.
Yeah. So as far as that letter goes,
okay.
Like I said, we can try sending that out just in case the post office does deliver it. So you'll have that information with you.
Well, let me ask you: my question is did they do wrong?
Or if the state helps pay for that in the future, even though you're running insurance? Yeah.
When did When did
Well,
they
they
do it,
didn't
though?
do wrong because they tried to notify you
I never.
before the Medicare started.
Yeah, but when? I
before the
never
Medicare
got it, and I
started.
told them I didn't want it.
Before the Medicare, I'm telling you.
That's the
They're-
problem. They forced it on me. I didn't want it, and then I told them I couldn't use it. That's why I told DHHS, and then I told the Adult Protective Services. No one would listen to me. They did it on purpose.
Okay, yeah, so the only person or the only agency that can enroll you and terminate that Medicare coverage is going to be Social Security.
Okay, yeah, so the only person or the only agency that can enroll you and terminate that Medicare coverage is going to be Social Security. And before they can do anything, somehow, some way, they need to get something in writing. They can't do it over the phone.
I know,
They can't
and that's
just do it
why
over the conversation. They need something in
that's what-
writing before they can make any kind of changes on your record for benefits or even start that refund. So in the meantime, we can send a message over to that office to let them know that you
Which
can't go
office?
in, to let them know that
Which
you may not
office?
be receiving your mail.
Is
to let them
there
know
any
that
way I
you
can get
don't currently have a
back
phone
paid
where they
for
can even call you
all
back?
the money
to
that
let
was
you know
stolen
what the
from
status
me?
is? The Social Security office?
But they need something in writing first before they can send you that back.
I would rather.
Yeah,
To
you
be
could get
honest,
some back pay, but
you
they
don't
need
know the
something in writing
situation.
first
But
before they can send you that
I
back
begged
payment.
those people for help, and they just ignored me. And I told them that, and you don't know this, but that's the case. And if they sent me paperwork, I didn't get it because I'm losing all my mail. They have not tried to help me whatsoever. And that's why if there's any way I can file any complaint, that's what I'd like to do. Is there any way of doing that?
You can, but in order to file a complaint, they need that in writing too.
Okay. Well,
You can't just stick it over the phone or
Okay.
on the internet.
You can, but in order to file a complaint, they need that in writing too. They can't just take it over
Which-
the phone or on the internet.
Terminate the Medicare and
Before they can start anything at Social Security, they need all this information.
Can I
in
send it
writing.
by email?
Even if it's just a request to terminate the Medicare and work on the refund later, they need something in writing.
in your own
So
words,
it's-
in writing.
we can't send it by email. They need like your signature, your date.
Um,
They need all that information in your own words in writing.
To let them know your circumstances, to let them know you can't physically go in or call.
So yeah, in the meantime, we can send a message over to that office closest to you to let them know your circumstances, to let them know you can't physically go in or call, or whatever the case is.
well,
and
the
to
thing
let
is,
them try and get back
my
in touch with
my
you.
problem is
If you don't have a number they
they're,
can call you at, or a place where they can send these letters to,
the mail is
just an
what they do is
face-to-face.
they send mail, and then when my mailbox gets full, then they send it back, and I can't get up to it. I'm really stuck. I don't.
Have you requested that they hold your mail at the post office?
What's that?
Have you requested that they hold your mail at the post office?
have you requested that they hold your
I have
mail
no way
at
of
the
getting
post
to the
office?
post office. That's the problem. I'm stuck in a
Have you
tin can
requested
that I
that they
can't
hold
get
your
out
mail
of.
at
I
the post
can't.
office?
I'm using somebody else's phone, and I'm living in a house that's almost uninhabitable, and I'm trying to get all these things done at the same time. And in the meantime, DHHS and Adult Protective Services have abandoned me.
So the person that you're using
Okay.
the phone for, can they drop something off
So the
at your Social Security office in writing?
There is no Social
so the
Security.
person
I
that
don't
you're
even
using
know
the
where the
phone
Social
for, can
Security
they
office
drop
is
something
in Port
off
Huron, I
at your
think.
Social Security office in writing?
What's your zip code? It came up within Flint, Michigan?
Yeah, they.
Doesn't matter with Social Security office.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have,
So
ma'am,
the
I have
zip code
nobody.
is
I'm on my
came up
own.
within
I
Michigan?
borrowed
But it doesn't
a
matter which
neighbor's,
Social Security office gets
phone,
this
and
letter.
I can't keep asking people to help me. I need help. And instead of
In touch with you over the phone, can they reach you at that
Okay.
phone number?
well, if you call, I can give you a number,
So
and
if
if
Social Security
they
gets in
call
touch
it,
with you over the
I
phone,
can
can
get
they reach you at that
that
neighbor's
call,
phone
and
number?
as soon as they call me, they'll tell me that and let me use a phone.
Okay.
So because what I've got is it's a
This place, or he doesn't want you to receive mail at his address?
no,
Okay.
I don't want to.
And
ma'am,
then,
I don't want to go through anybody else.
can
I'm
you
trying to get
letter
this done
to
with
your-
myself.
your neighbor's place, or
My
he doesn't
biggest
want you to
problem
receive
is
mail
I
at
have a
his
job offer. I have an opportunity to move to a warm climate and a chance to survive, and instead I'm caught in Lapeer County. That's jerking me around. Instead of allowing me to work to survive, they got me stuck in this mobile home until I die, and it's just a nightmare. I've tried everything humanly possible to act as my own attorney. They just ignore me. They've done horrible things to me. They left me without water since November, and I'm a victim of felony torture that no one will respond to. It's easier to let me die, and I've asked.
At least get this Medicare and this refund taken care of. At least get it started. So, what telephone number do you
Well,
have?
let's at least get this Medicare and this refund taken care of. Or at least get it
810-882.
started. So, what telephone number do you want to leave with your neighbor for them to try and get in touch with you with again?
I don't want to give that. It's a Skype phone,
Okay.
and
And what's your
it's a
neighbor's name?
computer phone. My problem is my computer. the audio blew out. So what happens is if you call that number, I see it, but I can't call it to call you back. So then I go get my neighbors. But
If no one answers the phone, if they don't know who they're calling, they may not leave a message.
no, just
Okay.
no,
Yeah,
just
so
leave
that's
a
okay,
message,
but,
and I'll
if no one
I
answers
will
the
call you
phone,
back
if they don't
because
know who
I
they're
can see it. I
calling,
just
they
can't
may
call
not
you
leave a
back until I
message when they
get
call you
the
back.
phone.
And are there good times to reach you during the day? Or
And just well, I'm incarcerated in my home, so it's just
Okay.
anytime as soon
And
as
are there
possible.
good times
ma'am.
to reach you during the day or good days to call?
Let me go ahead and send that message, and this is going to the office on Robert T. Longley.
Is there any way
So yeah,
that
let me go ahead and send that message, and this is
you
going
could
to
send
the
it
office
Port
on
Huron?
Robert T. Longley.
That's a little less
Flint, Michigan?
congested. No, it's a little less congested. If there's for any reason that I have to go there, then I'd rather
Oh,
go
it's
there
Port
than
Huron
Flint.
closer to you?
Can you spell that for me?
It's a Port Huron, Porthuron.
Okay, can you spell that for me?
Okay, is this the one on Craft Road?
I believe so.
Okay. And even though they're going to be calling you, do you want theirs?
Okay, is this the one on Craft Road?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And even though they're going to be calling you, do you want
Yes,
their
ma'am.
telephone number?
Okay, so their number is 877
Okay, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
895
Okay, so their number is 877
042.
895
Normally they're open 9 to 4.
and
Friday,
0042.
and Wednesdays they're open 9 o'clock to
And
12 o'clock.
normally they're
Okay.
open 9 to 4 Monday through Friday,
We have to move on to the next
and
Okay.
Wednesdays they're open
And
9
then,
o'clock.
ma'am,
to
you're
12
going to
o'clock.
send all that paperwork for my
But yeah, I basically have to
procedures.
move on to the next call, but that's what we'll be
Okay.
taking care of today.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess even though you can't receive the mail, if it still gets to you, then
Well, it might get to me if I can get to say what they do is when my box gets too
Yeah,
full,
I
then they
guess, you
take it
know,
back.
you
But
can't receive the mail if it
I
doesn't
try to
get
get
to
up
you,
there
okay.
and I send people, but it's just a big pain in the butt. And I'm fighting one battle after another. And I'm sorry that I got so many problems, but I refuse to die, and it's really tough right now. But what?
we'll try and do as much as we can.
Okay,
Solid in the meantime.
okay. I forgot your name, ma'am.
Yeah, I understand.
Jennifer,
So we'll try and do
do you
as much
have
as we can.
a
Give us
number,
a phone in the meantime.
a employee number or something I can reference?
My name is Jennifer.
Yes, my number is 615,
615.
and I'm in the Dallas, Texas call center.
Oh, okay.
Yes, my number
Probably a
is
little warmer than it is
615,
in Michigan.
and I'm in the Dallas, Texas call center.
Okay. Okay, I really appreciate your time, Jennifer. Any help that you
Yeah,
can give me,
but yeah, I
I
have
really
to move on to the
appreciate
next
it.
call, unfortunately.
All right, that sounds good. And, yeah, thank you for calling to let us know.
Okay.
And we'll send that letter right out.
Okay, thank you.